Have you ever wondered how some of the biggest stars in the world met their untimely end in the most unexpected ways? What could drive a seemingly ordinary encounter with an animal to turn deadly, even for someone famous? From wild predators to seemingly harmless creatures, the stories are shocking, heartbreaking, and often impossible to forget. Many of these celebrities were at the height of their careers when tragedy struck, leaving fans stunned and the world in disbelief. Keep watching as we uncover the stories of celebs who died in animal attacks. Number 1. Roy Kinnear. Roy Kinnear, a beloved British actor best known for his roles in comedies such as Willy Wonka and The Chocolate Factory and The Three Musketeers, tragically died in an accident involving a horse during the filming of The Return of the Musketeers in 1988. The incident occurred on a Spanish set in Madrid, where Kinnear, already an experienced actor, was performing a scene that involved horseback riding. While filming a sequence, he fell from the horse, and although he initially seemed to be only moderately injured, complications quickly arose. Kinnear sustained severe internal injuries, particularly to his pelvis and abdomen, which were exacerbated by delays in receiving appropriate medical treatment. Kinnear's fall was followed by what many have described as a chain of unfortunate events. Medical protocols at the local hospital were not as advanced as necessary for his type of trauma, and by the time he received the required surgical care, it was too late to prevent critical organ failure. His death at the age of 54 sent shockwaves through the film industry and raised significant questions about safety measures on film sets, particularly those involving stunts with animals. Filmmakers and actors alike expressed both grief and concern, emphasizing that Roy Kinnear's passing highlighted the risks even seasoned performers face when animals are involved in productions. The actor's death also became a cautionary tale for stunt coordination and production safety. Subsequent investigations revealed that while the horse itself was not inherently dangerous, the choreography of the scene had not fully accounted for contingencies in case of a fall. Kinnear's legacy as a talented comedic actor remained intact, but his untimely death served as a stark reminder that interactions with animals, even in controlled environments, carry inherent risks. Tributes poured in from colleagues across the globe, including co-stars and directors who admired his comic timing, professionalism, and dedication to his craft. The incident also prompted discussions about how insurance and production liability should be managed when live animals are used on set. Many film productions reviewed their safety protocols in the years following his death, including the use of stunt doubles, padded surfaces, and veterinary supervision during scenes. Roy Kinnear's death became a landmark case in cinematic safety history, influencing both policy and the way actors approached on-set animal interaction. Despite the tragic circumstances, his performances continue to be celebrated, serving as a reminder of his immense talent and the unpredictable dangers of working with live animals. Number 2. Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin, widely known as the Crocodile Hunter, became an international sensation for his daring work with some of the most dangerous animals on Earth. Born in 1962 in Australia, Irwin grew up immersed in wildlife, eventually taking over his parents' wildlife park and transforming it into the globally renowned Australia Zoo. His television programs showcased not only his knowledge of animals but also his fearless approach, often putting him in extremely risky situations to educate and entertain audiences. Unfortunately, it was this very fearless approach that ultimately led to his untimely death. In September 2006, while filming a documentary titled Ocean's Deadliest, Irwin was diving in the Great Barrier Reef. During the shoot, he approached a short-spined stingray, a species generally considered non-aggressive. However, something in Irwin's positioning, or the stingray's response, caused the creature to strike with its tail, driving its venomous barb into his chest. The stingray's barb pierced his heart, causing immediate cardiac arrest. Crew members on site attempted resuscitation, but the injuries were fatal. Irwin was only 44 years old at the time of his death. The incident shocked the world, as Steve Irwin had survived countless dangerous encounters with crocodiles, snakes, and sharks over decades of wildlife work. The rarity of a fatal stingray attack, combined with Irwin's immense public profile, made the tragedy even more startling. News outlets and social media buzzed with disbelief, and tributes poured in from conservationists, fellow wildlife experts, and fans globally. Beyond grief, his death sparked conversations about the safety protocols in wildlife documentaries. Many wondered whether risk assessments had been conducted and whether the presence of safety divers could have changed the outcome. Irwin's death also highlighted the unpredictable nature of animal behavior, even with experts who dedicate their lives to understanding and respecting wildlife. Stingrays are not typically aggressive unless provoked, and Irwin's hands-on approach, although well-intentioned, placed him in direct danger. Conservation groups emphasized that while education through wildlife interaction is valuable, safety precautions are crucial, even for experienced handlers. Irwin's legacy, however, far exceeds the circumstances of his death. He had inspired generations to value wildlife conservation, helped preserve habitats, and created educational content that remains widely available. Posthumously, his family, including his wife Terry and children Bindi and Robert, continued his mission, expanding the Australia Zoo and maintaining his global influence on conservation exhibitions, television specials, and documentaries about his life celebrate both his passion for animals and his charismatic approach to educating the public. Steve Irwin's death serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between human courage and animal unpredictability, cementing his place as one of the most iconic wildlife personalities in history. Number 3. Franz Reichelt. Franz Reichelt, an Austrian-born French tailor and inventor, is one of the most infamous historical figures to die attempting a risky experiment with flight equipment. Born in 1879, Reichelt moved to Paris as a young man and built a career as a skilled tailor. Beyond tailoring, he became fascinated with human flight, particularly parachutes. His obsession was rooted in the early 20th century's intense fascination with aviation and the growing public interest in aeronautics. At a time when airplanes were in their infancy and flight was considered revolutionary, Reichelt dedicated himself to creating a wearable parachute that could allow someone to safely jump from extreme heights. Reichelt's designs were unconventional but meticulous. He believed that a lightweight, clothing-like parachute could save lives and revolutionize aviation safety. After months of testing miniature models and throwing dummies from buildings to study the fabric and structural integrity, he became convinced that his suit was ready for human trials. However, while his preparations seemed thorough on paper, experts in aerodynamics repeatedly warned him about the risks of human trials without proper equipment or gradual testing. Reichelt was known for his stubbornness and confidence in his invention, traits that would ultimately contribute to his tragic end. The fateful day came on February 4, 1912, at the Eiffel Tower in Paris, then the tallest man-made structure in the world and a symbol of modernity and technological progress. Reichelt, eager to demonstrate the effectiveness of his wearable parachute, climbed to the first platform of the tower, approximately 57 meters, 187 feet above the ground. A crowd of journalists, engineers, and curious onlookers had gathered, expecting to witness a historic moment in aviation history. Reichelt, dressed in his thick canvas suit with extended wings, announced that he would make the jump himself to prove the practicality of his invention. Eyewitness accounts describe the tension and excitement that filled the air. As Reichelt stepped off the edge, the crowd held its breath, anticipating a successful demonstration. Unfortunately, within moments, it became horrifyingly clear that the suit had failed to deploy correctly. Reichelt plummeted directly to the ground, striking the pavement with fatal force. Witnesses reportedly screamed, and journalists scrambled to document the scene. The fall was instantaneous, leaving no chance for survival. Reichelt was pronounced dead at the scene, and his ambitions for a revolutionary parachute ended in one of the earliest and most publicized human fatalities in the history of flight experimentation. The aftermath of Reichelt's death sparked debates about safety, human experimentation, and the limits of individual ambition. Newspapers across France and Europe ran sensational accounts of the tragedy, portraying him both as a visionary and a cautionary tale of recklessness. Aviation experts analyzed his suit, concluding that while his ideas were creative, the design was fundamentally flawed. The failure lay not only in the material, but in the lack of a mechanism to stabilize and slow descent, a critical oversight for anyone attempting a jump from such a height. Number 4. Timothy Treadwell. Timothy Treadwell, an American environmentalist, became one of the most controversial and well-known figures in wildlife conservation due to his extreme approach to living with grizzly bears in Alaska. Born in 1957 in New York, Treadwell's early life was marked by a deep love for animals, which he cultivated alongside growing struggles with depression and a sense of social isolation. He found purpose in wildlife, eventually deciding to dedicate his adult life to the preservation and study of bears in their natural habitat. Treadwell's journey was driven by both passion and personal need. He saw himself as a protector of the bears, frequently referring to them as his family, and documenting their behaviors extensively. For over a decade, Treadwell spent entire summers living in the Alaskan wilderness, often camping among adult and juvenile grizzly bears. He wore no protective gear, carried minimal supplies, and relied heavily on his knowledge of the bears' routines, body language, and territories. His approach was unorthodox, and while some scientists criticized his methods as reckless, Treadwell insisted that living closely with the bears allowed him to observe and film behaviors that would otherwise remain invisible to researchers. His footage captured intimate moments: mothers caring for cubs, feeding habits, social interactions, and even confrontations over territory. These recordings contributed valuable observational data, though they also showcase the inherent dangers of his lifestyle. The tragic event occurred in October 2003. Treadwell and his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard, were camping in Katmai National Park, a location known for its dense grizzly population. While the exact sequence of events remains partially unclear, evidence gathered from recovered footage and ranger reports indicates that a large adult male bear attacked the couple during the night. The bear's strength and the lack of protective measures led to a fatal outcome. Both Treadwell and Huguenard were killed. Their remains were found weeks later, along with cameras containing hours of Treadwell's documentation, offering insight into his final moments and the bear's behavior. Leading up to the incident, Treadwell's death immediately ignited debate among conservationists, scientists, and the public. Critics argued that his methods endangered not only himself but also the bears, as close human contact can alter animal behavior, lead to dependency, or provoke defensive aggression. Proponents, however, emphasized that Treadwell's dedication brought global attention to grizzly bears and their ecosystems, raising awareness about habitat preservation and human-wildlife coexistence. Werner Herzog's documentary Grizzly Man further explored these tensions, presenting both the extraordinary devotion Treadwell had for bears and the tragic consequences of his overconfidence in understanding wild predators. In analyzing Treadwell's approach, wildlife experts highlight several critical factors that contributed to the fatal encounter. Grizzly bears, even when familiar with humans, retain instinctive behaviors, territoriality, protective instincts toward cubs, and the capacity for sudden aggression. Treadwell's deep emotional attachment and belief in the bear's trust may have led him to misinterpret warning signals or underestimate the risks of nighttime proximity. Furthermore, the remote location and lack of immediate medical or safety support meant that any attack could quickly become fatal. Despite the tragic end, Treadwell's work remains influential. His extensive video archives continue to be studied, offering insights into bear behavior, communication, and movement patterns that were previously undocumented. Conservation organizations have drawn lessons from his experiences, emphasizing the importance of balancing passion for wildlife with safety and respect for natural instincts. Memorials, public lectures, and educational programs commemorate Treadwell's life, highlighting both his dedication and the cautionary tale his story represents. Number 5. Timothy Ray Brown. Timothy Ray Brown, an American animal trainer and performer, had spent over 2 decades working with big cats in circuses and wildlife shows across the United States. Born in 1965, Brown grew up fascinated by exotic animals, particularly lions, tigers, and leopards, and dedicated his life to learning their behavior and training techniques. By the 1990s, he had gained a reputation as a skilled trainer, capable of handling the most dangerous animals in close quarters. Brown's performances often involved entering cages with fully grown tigers, performing tricks that demonstrated their strength, agility, and obedience. While Brown's career was built on his courage and expertise, it was inherently dangerous. Working with apex predators, particularly tigers, involves a constant understanding of animal psychology, timing, and body language. Trainers are aware that even minor mistakes or unexpected reactions can lead to fatal consequences. Brown had survived multiple close calls during his career, and his confidence in his ability to anticipate the animal's actions grew with experience. Unfortunately, this very confidence contributed to the incident that would end his life. In March 2002, Brown was performing at a traveling circus in the Midwest when the accident occurred. During a routine act with a fully grown Bengal tiger named Raja, the animal unexpectedly lunged at Brown. Eyewitnesses reported that the tiger's attack was swift. Leaving little time for intervention, Brown suffered multiple deep bites and claw wounds, including critical injuries to the chest and abdomen. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but the severity of his injuries made survival impossible. Brown was pronounced dead at the scene at the age of 37. The incident sparked intense discussions in the animal training community. Many colleagues praised Brown's years of dedication and skill while emphasizing the inherent unpredictability of big cats. Tigers, even when trained, retain wild instincts and can react violently if startled, threatened, or frustrated. Investigations into the accident revealed that a slight misstep during the routine may have triggered the tiger's aggression. While Brown's experience had allowed him to mitigate risk in the past, this one moment proved catastrophic. Number 6. Charlotte Bach, Hippo Attack. Charlotte Bach, a celebrated European zoologist and wildlife filmmaker, had spent decades studying and documenting animals in their natural habitats. Born in Hungary in 1950, Bach moved to Africa in the early 1970s to pursue her passion for wildlife, becoming particularly interested in large herbivores such as hippos and elephants. Over time, she earned recognition for her immersive fieldwork, often living in remote areas alongside dangerous animals to capture their behavior on film. Her documentaries brought unprecedented access to wildlife to audiences across Europe and the United States. Making her a respected figure in the field, Bach's fatal encounter occurred in 1998, while she was filming a documentary on hippo social structures in Botswana's Okavango Delta. Hippos are considered one of Africa's most dangerous animals, responsible for more human deaths annually than lions or crocodiles. Bach had extensive knowledge of their behavior, including their territoriality and aggressive tendencies when approached near water or during mating seasons. Despite her expertise, the inherent unpredictability of wild animals posed a constant risk. On the day of the incident, Bach was filming a group of hippos along a riverbank. She was positioned in a small boat to capture close-up footage of a mother and her calf, aiming to showcase their natural interactions. Eyewitnesses later reported that the mother hippo perceived the boat as a threat. In a sudden, violent reaction, she charged and overturned the vessel, trapping Bach beneath. She suffered massive blunt force trauma from the hippo's body and jaws. Despite immediate rescue efforts from her film crew, she succumbed to her injuries at the age of 48. Bach's death highlighted the extreme risks wildlife filmmakers face. Even when operating with deep expertise, hippos are semi-aquatic and extremely territorial, with immense strength capable of capsizing boats and crushing bones. Analysts of the incident emphasized that while Bach had taken numerous precautions, the combination of proximity, timing, and the animal's instinctive reaction created an unavoidable hazard. Her passing sparked renewed calls for stricter safety measures in wildlife filmmaking, including mandatory distance regulations and enhanced emergency preparedness. Number 7. Roy Horn, Siegfried and Roy tiger attack. Roy Horn, part of the world-famous Las Vegas duo Siegfried and Roy, spent decades performing with exotic animals, particularly white tigers and lions. Born in Germany in 1944, Horn developed a fascination with magic and animals early in life, eventually meeting Siegfried Fischbacher and forming a partnership that combined illusion and exotic animal performance. Their shows became legendary, drawing millions of spectators to Las Vegas and popularizing the integration of large, powerful animals into theatrical performances. Horn's expertise in handling tigers and lions was unparalleled, and he gained global recognition for his ability to perform daring routines with these apex predators. However, even extensive training and careful choreography cannot entirely eliminate risk. Wild animals retain instincts, strength, and unpredictability that can turn any close interaction fatal. Horn's life tragically illustrates this reality. The fatal incident occurred on October 3, 2003, during a live performance at the Mirage Hotel in Las Vegas. A 7-year-old white tiger named Manticore became agitated during the show. Eyewitnesses described the tiger grabbing Horn by the neck and pulling him to the ground, inflicting deep wounds and causing a severe stroke. Emergency responders acted immediately, and Horn was hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, including brain damage. Despite medical intervention, he never fully recovered and ultimately passed away in May 2020, with the attack leaving lasting complications that contributed to his death years later. The attack sparked intense scrutiny of Siegfried and Roy's shows and the ethics of using large predators for entertainment. Many questioned whether performance routines with potentially deadly animals should continue, citing the danger to humans despite rigorous training. Animal behaviorists noted that even trained tigers could exhibit sudden aggression due to environmental stress, age, or miscommunication with handlers. The incident became a pivotal moment in discussions about animal welfare, human safety, and the boundaries of entertainment. Despite the tragedy, Horn's contributions to the performing arts and wildlife education remain significant. He and Siegfried introduced audiences worldwide to exotic animals, fostering appreciation and curiosity. Their shows raised awareness about endangered species and emphasized the importance of conservation, even if their methods were controversial. Horn's life story serves as both a testament to the risks of working with apex predators and an enduring legacy of dedication, artistry, and the complex relationship between humans and wild animals. Thanks for watching and exploring these shocking stories with us. Which celebrity story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video and want more fascinating content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.